Hi there, I'm John Michael Garapi and this is Popcorn Roulette. Each episode I invite a guest on the show, they suggest a movie, we both go watch the movie, and then we get together and we talk about it. Today my guest is Justine Garapi Gutierrez.
Yes.
Justine's my niece. Justine, how you doing?
Good, I'm great, how are you?
Not too bad, what do you do?
I work at a law office in Boston as of currently, and it's going.
And you chose for us Billy Elliot, which is starring Jamie Bell, Gary Lewis, Jamie Draven, and Julie Walters. Why did you choose that?
I honestly love this movie. It's like, it tugs at the heartstrings a little. And it was just kind of one that's always been in the back of my mind. Watched it at a young age. Didn't really understand it, but then watched it again recently. And I was like, that's the one I want to pick.
How many times would you say you've watched this movie?
Like 3.
Is it 3 times?
Yeah.
This is the 3rd time for the show itself?
Third time for the show, yeah.
Well, before we get to the movie, we've got some Reese's Pieces to eat. This was, why'd you want Reese's Pieces? Here, have a bunch.
I've always had Reese's Pieces going to movies. It's just one of those things I can sit there and eat the whole bag.
Reese's Pieces are great. I was talking to Joe about how when I was working at the movie theater, I used to dump these things inside the popcorn with butter.
Oh, that's just crazy.
Yeah, because it used to the peanut butter mixed with the butter for some strange reason and created like this really sweet taste.
It sounds great.
Tasted like I was eating something illegal, like, or like I was pouring like some sort of cleaner in my mouth. I can't explain why that's a good thing.
Cleaner.
Why don't you explain the plot of Billy Elliot to us?
So Billy Elliot starts in northern England, and he's a school kid. I think he's about 11 years old in the movie. And it's at the beginning of the miners' strike, so his family's going through a lot. His dad's, paying money to get him to do boxing because that's what he's done growing up. Not really good at it. In the first scenes, like he's getting knocked out by the other kids. Everyone's laughing at him. And then at the end, he's practicing, and then he ends up having to give keys back to the teacher who is the teacher of the dance.
There's ballet classes that have to be in the same gymnasium. They seem to be forced into that room.
So he's giving the keys back, and he's looking interested. And the teacher's kind of like pushing him, like, oh, why don't you try? Why don't you try? He's like, no, I think I'll just hang out. Like, I'm just going to watch. And then towards the end of it, he starts doing ballet. She's like, so you're coming back next week? He's like, no, I got to do boxing. He ends up coming back next week, and then he keeps going. And he really enjoys it. It's his way to, release emotions. And that's basically the plot of the movie, just trying to, hide it from his dad.
Right.
Because his dad's, this miner. He did boxing growing up. He's a, mean
he's a
guy.
Man's man.
Yeah, he's a man's man. And
Lads don't do ballet. They don't do ballet.
They don't do ballet.
They do boxing and wrestling and whatnot.
Yeah. And then he ends up finding him dancing. He gets in trouble, but then Billy's so upset he starts tap dancing. And then his dad's so shocked by his skill. So then he's trying to push him to go through the ballet school.
Yeah. Let's digest this. Jamie Bell, what did you think of that actor?
I think it was excellent. I was just so shocked because he's so young.
Yeah. I think he's technically 15 when they made this movie, but still very hard to get a child actor, even at 15, who's capable of showing that range of emotion like that. Never mind the dancing part,
He was just so skilled with the dancing aspect.
Yeah.
And then with the acting as well. He really portrayed his emotions.
What did you think of the dance stylings of Jamie Bell?
I don't know, it was spunky. I liked it. It was so strange, but it worked because I don't know. It's just he's mad.
Yeah.
It's mad dancing. He's upset.
He's constantly just pushing his energy into it. But it is kind of strange because it's obviously this kid can dance in real life. They're making him dance worse, But then there are these scenes where how much did you take dance classes when you were a kid?
Yeah,
just a small amount?
Yeah, a small amount.
What's your thought towards ballet? When you were a kid, what did you think about ballet?
I mean, I went at such a young age. It was more froofy, filly, glittery dancing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just okay, go on the stage, get on your X on the floor, and then do your thing. And we're all just following the teacher, not really.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I went really young.
Yeah.
I think I was 5 or 6 years old.
I haven't really talked about this with the audience or anything like that, but your uncle, he used to dance. You know what I mean? I went to college for this.
Yeah.
So that sequence where Billy Elliot is doing the angry dance, he's putting in dance moves that are not first year stuff. And granted, he's doing it in boots and they're adding tap sounds to it, but like he knows the motions. He's been trained to do things like Cincinnati, stuff like that. So there's clearly a lot of talent just untapped and they're just not using it intentionally. But why do you think, why does Billy love dancing?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if it's because his mom was into music and he just has a feel for rhythm, but they don't really go into like his mom was a dancer. But you do hear the grandmother says, oh, I did ballet growing up. But you don't know if that like runs into the family or anything.
It seems like it's, you know, this actually pokes into my negative review. I always end up grabbing a negative review because I don't, you know, I'm not going to trash him. Billy Elliot's an excellent movie, but evidently Laura Clifford from reelingreviews.com did not think so. Yeah, Laura Clifford, what does she know? This could have been such a good film if Lee Hall's script had been given a major overhaul. There's no evidence of Dad's soft side film's first half, making his transition a bit startling. Billy punches the boy inexplicably after his big audition. This from the kid who couldn't throw a punch in the ring. His characters learn to stop thinking of ballet as occupations for pooftas, yet Billy's best friend comes out onto him once he starts dancing. Billy shows no particular grace until he espies a tutu. Billy Elliot makes a cliched story seem fresh, but one too many bad choices yank it away from truly inspiring. Granted, Laura's going a little bit too far as I'm concerned, but like, is she right? Like, where are these characters' motivations? Do we actually see, like, for example, let's take a look at Dad. He is so dead set against dancing, so why does he make that switch? You were mentioning because he sees Billy dance, and Billy dances really good, but I would argue Billy doesn't dance very well for Dad at all. You know, he isn't particularly good or graceful, so why does his dad make that change?
I don't know. I think it was more of like an emotional dance. It wasn't really like, oh, I'm dancing you to show you how great I am, like you should appreciate my dance. It's more of like, I'm emotional, I've been trying to talk to you, words aren't cutting it, like I have to show you through dance. Yeah. It was more of like a speech. It wasn't like, oh, I'm dancing to show you I'm a good dancer.
You get the impression that Billy was like standing up to Dad in a sense?
It was finally standing, like even part of his dance moves, he was like stomping a lot and like kicking near his face, like, you know, getting very close and like physical without getting physical. Yeah. But showing him like I want to dance, like this is what I do.
Yeah. In the process of the movie, his dad ends up, because he realizes that he has to send his son off to these ballet lessons. They don't have money. They're in the middle of a coal miner strike. And he decides to go scab. I was just wondering if, like, trying to imagine, like, being in the situation that they were in Durham, England during this time period. This movie takes place in 1984. What would it be like to be in a community where, like, the entire community is constantly having to deal with the police officers by the hundreds in your town and respond to that? Like, what would it require for you to go scab in a situation like that?
I don't know, when you put it like that. Yeah, like, I don't know. For him to switch over was a lot. And I don't know if it's because he was so into the strike, he kind of forgot about his family. There was that moment at Christmas where he just started crying, and I think he was thinking about his wife. So it's like his mother's not around, like I need to be a parent to him, not just like a provider. So when he finally realized that it's what he wanted to do, and he made that dance for him, I think he was thinking more of like a dad, where the whole movie he was thinking of, I'm providing for my family. Yeah. You know, so he had that switch, like, you know, the mother's not around anymore, like I need to be both, and that's why he's like, he's just a kid, we need to give him a chance. When he was talking to Tony, his brother, he wants to do something. He's only 11 years old, like he's just a child. Yeah. Because the whole time he was thinking of it as a provider, and then his heart switched when he seen the emotion that his child had.
Realized that just giving him boxing lessons wasn't going to be enough. Yeah. Yeah. So in this movie, Miss Wilkinson ends up explaining what Swan Lake is. Why are we using Swan Lake of all things? Do you remember what her explanation of Swan Lake is?
I think she said it was a princess. She ends up getting turned into a swan, and then she has a chance to be turned out of a swan, but then the guy left her or something like that.
Yeah, well, she's not being fair to the guy technically because he's sorcelled to believe that some other swan is his swan, and he ends up marrying the wrong swan. Yeah.
Such a random ballet story, by the way.
Yeah. Tchaikovsky was going with something very interesting there. Yeah. But like, why this story of all stories? Why Swan Lake? You know, why the story of a princess? A prince that loves a swan.
I don't know. I got nothing from it, but everyone knows Swan Lake. I don't know if that's why they went with it. Because it would have.
It's certainly popular ballet music.
And it, like, I don't know, it's, maybe he was going for that powerful scene, like, because it was very powerful, that last scene where he's jumping on the stage. But I don't know. It's like, what other famous ballet do
It's actually
we
kind
all
of
know?
interesting because, like, on top of all that, that's not technically Swan Lake that they were doing at the very end. That's, I can't remember
It's
the
a
name
lamb,
of the,
right?
what was that?
Wasn't
no,
it?
he's dressed as the swan. He's not the prince in that story. That's actually, that's a production of Swan Lake that involves a prince that's supposed to marry a princess, but he falls in love with a male swan. But it's just interesting because they chose to make him the swan at the end. And I just found that to be an interesting choice.
Yeah. I feel like they might have, see, I don't know. I didn't think that much into that part. Because I'm just trying to think what other like famous ballet production would people know besides the Nutcracker?
Well, obviously the Nutcracker, but I don't think it's as it's not as soul stirring to watch him go up there as the Nutcracker, you know?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, that brings up a lot of like, it seems interesting that that the director chose to put both Debbie in this story, who's interested in Billy Elliot, and his best friend Michael, who's interested in Billy Elliot, and put Billy Elliot somewhere in the center.
Yeah, what a love triangle. Huh? What a love triangle that was.
But do you think that like the director is like trying to lean on any one direction? Is he trying to have it both ways when it comes to like, you know, Billy Elliot's sexuality?
I thought he was like, you know, interested in girls.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly made that, you know, noticeable with Debbie in that pillow scene.
Yeah.
I just don't, like, you know, it didn't go anywhere. I don't know, because for nerves, they are, you know, technically young. I don't think he was interested in Michael at all, but I think that he knew Michael was interested in him. That's why he, like, you know, kissed him as he was leaving. But I do not think he would swing that way to Michael, because he's just like, what are you doing? He's like, just because I dance doesn't mean I like boys.
Yeah.
You know, he made that very clear a few times.
I mean, we're spoiling all kinds of stuff. They know that. We get to the end, Billy Elliot's coming across his letter, whether or not he gets into the Royal School of Ballet. And there's this huge dramatic sequence where it takes like minutes for them to eventually get to the fact that like, oh yeah, he finally made it.
I love it.
Do you love it?
Sorry.
Because that's the thing is like, I was watching, I was like, well, of course he got in. Like for 2 minutes, I'm like, just say he got in because it's so damn obvious. They wouldn't write this movie up to this point. But like, let's pretend they didn't actually do that. Could you write Billy Elliot in which he doesn't get into the Royal Ballet? Could you imagine like how that would play out?
No, that would be so sad if that happened. I would have hated that movie. I wouldn't have liked it. That would have been depressing if he didn't make it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would have liked the movie as much. But I did like the dramatic buildup because it's like showing the anticipation of everybody. He's like on his way home. Hey, Billy, you made it in yet? No, and then everybody's sitting there waiting, and then it was just like, what are you going in the room, Billy? Why are you, like, you know, just open the letter. It shows the excitement of everybody as a family. Like, they're all excited for him.
I think that's one of the more important, like, that they are together as a group.
Yeah, they want this for Billy, and they want to help him.
Even to the point, I mean, like, there are some great, like, emotional scenes for people who, like, they're acting as if they don't know how to display their emotions correctly. When Billy leaves, his scene with Grandma is just beautiful. You know, he's about to say goodbye to her, and she grabs him like he's the most important thing in the world right now, and holds him, and then just pushes him away because she can't show her emotions. Like no one in that family can.
Yeah, they're close knit, but they don't show it.
Yeah,
like, they don't show emotions. So that part where he got on the bus, he was saying bye to his brother Tony. Oh my God, that was so sad.
Yeah,
because it's just like the whole movie, he's just talking bad about his brother, like calling him like this name and that name, and then towards the end it's just like, oh, he does love him. You know, like he didn't want to let him go. And then that too, when they were going to see, is it Swan Lake?
Swan Lake. I cannot remember the name of it. I'm going to put a picture of the actual thing right over what we're talking about right now.
When they were going to see, and he holds out, he's like, Dad, let's go. And he's like waiting outside the theater. Dad, let's go.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Well, Dad's like mystified. He's like looking at all of London, which is really crazy because he didn't seem to be too interested in London the first time he showed up. You know,
well, that makes me think too that they haven't seen him since then.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's just like he was so like interested, like, where am I? Like, this is a whole new place. It's like, it makes you think, like, have they not seen each other since then? Yeah. You know?
Yeah, at one point in time, Billy happens to say, I don't want a childhood, I want to be a ballet dancer. How important is childhood? Do you think that it's important for an 11-year-old to have like this this time when they're just having fun and just not really worrying too much about life and what's coming to them?
Yeah.
Or do you, like how important is that they get a skill that early, you know?
Yeah. Well, being so close to a 11-year-old all the time, I don't think that part means as much as like, you know, you think it was, because kids just want to grow up.
Yeah.
Like if that's what he has to say to do what he wants to do, he would say it. So
Yeah.
I think it as like, I want to grow up, you know, being a kid's boring. I want to be adult. I want to make it, like, you know, so I think, yes, there is some importance behind it, but it's not as like, you know, giving up childhood. Because to him, he just wants to be there. Like he just wants to be a ballet dancer. He doesn't want the whole hoopla in the middle.
Let's talk for a second about Miss Wilkinson.
Sandra, the teacher?
The teacher, Sandra, played by Julie Walters. What did you think of her as a caregiver in a sense?
Yeah, she was like a rough, tough lady.
Yeah.
She was, I liked her though. She kind of like was there to push Billy, and Billy was not really an easy kid to push. He has a mouth on him. I want to do it my way, like, you know, this is annoying, I give up. Like, throughout the movie, like, he was just like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I give up.
Billy makes this comment at one point in time that nobody wants what he wants. Everybody just wants to tell him to do what they want him to do. Mm-hmm. You know, do you think Miss Wilkinson is projecting herself on him?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't. I mean, yeah, she did miss her chance. I think she was more interested in getting him to where he needed to be. I don't think she was trying to project herself on him. What's your opinion on it?
I don't know. I mean, like it's a tricky situation because, like, obviously adults to some extent want to project their aspirations for a child on that child. So I would think on some level she wants him to be in the ballet company. Whether or not she ever wanted to really do anything with dance is we never see any of that really. So we have no idea. But I do wonder about, like, sometimes like adults saying like, oh, like this is something you need to do. You know, like I'm pushing you to become great when maybe you don't actually need or want that. Yeah.
Did you find it weird that she wasn't there at the ending scene?
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I do know just technically she just wasn't there they were planning on her being there, but she wasn't around for filming.
Oh, she wasn't?
Yeah, so that was just more of a logistical problem. Mm-hmm. But like it was strange to have that scene, the dad's there, the brother's there. Michael, his best friend, happens to coincidentally be in the seat right next to them.
And she's not there.
She just isn't there. You don't get that. Why do you think the Royal Ballet accepted Billy?
I think it was his answer at the end.
Yeah.
I think they were ready to pass at him, but once he explained how he feels when he's dancing, I think that's when it
So
turned.
how did he explain how he felt?
He said he doesn't know how he feels, but he feels a fire inside.
Yeah.
That he's about to fly away.
Yeah.
Or like he's in air, you know. So I think that answer, and it was all sincerity. Like you don't see sincerity a lot from kids.
Yeah.
Especially if they're lying, but it was like his face was so sincere, and I think in that moment they accepted him.
If you were one of the teachers yourself, like what would be your impression of Billy? Like you're deciding whether or not kids actually join or not.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's worth giving this kid specifically a chance?
I don't know, after that fight scene. Seems like a little, I don't know. But it's like, when, like being a teacher, it's like you gotta understand his background, like his family, his dad's a miner, like the type of setting he's in. They probably don't see a lot of people from northern England coming down.
Yeah.
And I would have gave him a chance.
Yeah?
Yeah, after that rowdy behavior.
What did you think of the wallpaper, out of curiosity?
I loved it.
This wallpaper is crazy.
I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Perks of Being a Fly.
A wallflower?
Yeah, Wallflower. It reminded me of that for some reason.
I don't think I've seen that movie actually. It's
Oh my God! For next time.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
That's another one of my favorites.
We're running out of time, but Justine, it was great having you on.
It was awesome being here.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye.